Welcome everyone, Maté Talk time. And I love Maté Talk, only because I get a chance to talk about a million things. A million things all happen during these conversations. And then the comments that come out from everybody, I really enjoy. I love the different directions that all of this goes. Before we begin, my good friends, firstly, what drink do you have? I need to know. I need to know. I know you guys are like, oh, will you ease up on this? No, I won't. I won't ease up on this. I want to know what the world is drinking, and I'm slowly going to convert the world to mate. I'll talk about that in just a second. But so far, everyone's drinking, check it out, water. Water's become which is really good. I'm really happy. So pause right now. Go get yourself a glass of water or something a little bit more exotic if you choose. Excuse me. Come back and let's have this conversation together, because life is better with a drink, you know. Probably not something too overtly alcoholic, but hey, you do you. Have a look at this. So this is Mr. Clark. Now, Mr. Clark, I would love to know, if you don't mind, is it Clark? So is that your name? So Mr. Clark wrote in and he said, look, he's giving mate a go. And he's like, it's almost like the verdict, the jury is still out on this, you know, so not so sure. The truth is, if you come into mate for the very first time, I'm gonna give you a heads up, you're not going to like it. You're gonna do this face. This was a mate talk that I did with Kevin, and that was his expression when he did the first taste of mate. It's very bitter, especially if you don't put any sugar. Very bitter. It has a very deep herbal hay-like quality to it. I'm gonna say it's nothing like you've tasted before, because there's nothing that I can actually say it's a bit like green tea or it's a bit like black tea. No, it's mate. It has its own very distinct, very robust pronounced taste. And it's sometimes, depending on the mate, the actual yerba mate, it has a herbal-like quality, not herbal, it has a smoky-like quality to it. Gorgeous, beautiful. How could no one? So actually on this, so Mr. Clark, my recommendation, and all those who are new, put a little bit of sugar. Ideally, I mean, some Argentinians, they start, you know, like teaspoon of sugar on everything. It's like too much sugar in the end. So if you start with like a teaspoon of sugar and then slowly ease your way backwards. That'll kill that initial, because obviously the tea is quite strong at the very start. The yerba mate is very strong at the start, and then it eases off as you know, as you're drinking it. So that sugar will help the transition. Ultimately, you want to drink it gaucho style, which means no sugar. Boom, it's good for you. All right, last week we started something new, which was pretty cool, and that is, watch this. You ready? Pure magic. I want to thank Nazir, my man. Thank you, sir. This awesome person, this awesome man, created Pure Magic. We started something. Actually, it also came from Thomas, who said, well, you know, where's the merchandise and the everything else, the emojis connected to Pure Magic. Actually, there are emojis, bada bing. And so for those who are members, you can use the Pure Magic emoji to reflect if you really, really love something. Something is pure magic, well, you know. So anyway, so from now on, yes, Pure Magic has been christened as part of the NFC channel. So thank you everyone and thanks to Aaron. I'm pretty certain it was Aaron, the gentleman at the very beginning who asked the question. So thank you, sir, for starting this piece, or this conversation. Let me show you this. So this is NIMA. He's an awesome young man from Canada, and he's started also a fragrance channel. He's fairly new in the game, but super enthusiastic. And one thing that he does a lot of, which I'm very scared about, is doing live sessions. It's one of those things for me, I'm a little bit hesitant, because maybe it's the director side of me where I'm a bit of a Stanley Kubrick. I want to control the set, and I want things to be what I want them to be, whereas live, anything can happen at any time. This thing has a life of its own. And so I have sort of steered away from doing live sort of, excuse me, while I have a drink, excuse me. So I have resisted doing lives. However, I put my big boy pants on, and I am doing, so NIMA reached out and said, would you be interested in doing a live alongside me? And the short answer was yes, I'd love to experience this. the question that he raised, now a lot of his audience or his viewers are very much into designer fragrances, and he liked, I guess the niche conversation, and thought it would be nice to introduce that to his audience. And so here's my question to you guys. So I'm going to be talking about obviously niche perfumery, but I've already got some thoughts here, but I'd love to get, so all those semi-pros, all the veterans, and all the 5-star generals, I'd love your input on this. Question number one is, what are some suggestions that you would put forward to a new recruit when it comes to either a house, or it could be an actual fragrance? I've got two things in my brain. One, I'd like to produce or introduce house, and that way they can explore the house, but also some key fragrances that I think a person coming into niche should check out. What's your suggestion? I'd love to grab that input and put it in there. And the second is, why did you guys choose, or why are you in niche? What made you sort of like, I'm gonna say a lot of us, and I look at myself, started in designer, loved perfumery, all of a sudden niche got put forward in front of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, I can't believe. And there were so many different facets to niche that drew me deeper and deeper into this space. What drew you? I want to know what your thoughts are, because I'd also like to share this with, because obviously someone who's new or in designers, you know, how do you go from buying a $60 bottle to a $500? I mean, that's a huge jump for anybody. So, you know, why should you be in niche? I mean, what's niche got that maybe designers don't quite have? You know, maybe something like that. Anyway, that's the question. Again, just so you know, timing, it will be this coming week, okay? So it's Friday. This is, NIMA is based in Toronto. I will put a link in the comments below so you can actually click on that link. I think the link is live already, so that I think he's doing it through. Can you hear my stomach? I don't know if you can hear this. I'll be able to hear it in post-production. If you can, I apologize. I promise that I did have something to eat so that I could, but anyway. So the session will begin on Friday at 8:55, so essentially 9 p.m. in Toronto. In the US, it means in LA, it's 6 p.m. In New York, it will be 9, so you guys work out the difference. Unfortunately for Europe, you guys, it's gonna be tough because it's like, can you hear that? What the heck, man? What's going on? It wants mate. Mate. Okay, give me a second. All right, here's your mate. Relax, man. In Australia, it will be Saturday. All right, so Friday night, Toronto, Saturday morning here, 11 a.m., we kick off. What's gonna happen? I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll see how it all plays out. If you guys can join us, I'd love to have you guys in there, and I'll go one more. If you guys are in there, I want you guys to contribute, all right? So I'd love your input, because I know that there's a lot of really good semi-pros, veterans, and 5-star generals. That would be awesome to be there. All right, boom, that's that. Have a look at this. Yeah, have a look at this, boom. So I've been mentioning that Kevin and I are cooking a whole bunch of different things. This is one of those things, and we're naming it Shop With Us at Oligarch. And it's an online event across Australia. The idea behind it is that we are lining up, at this stage, we're looking at 3 awesome brands, all right? We actually have them pretty much, you know, locked and loaded, but I'm gonna review one at a time. So this is the first brand. Paris Monte Carlo are actually jumping on board and participating or joining us on this Shop With Us live event that we're gonna be doing. For those who have seen these before, we've actually done this in the past, and that is I bring my full scale operation when it comes to cameras and everything else into the Oligarch store. Kevin and I dress up. We invite you to do so also. It is done through Zoom, so, but again, look, we have multiple cameras and everything else, so it looks stunning. That's the whole idea. And then, now I haven't asked Kevin this, but I want the mics all turned on. So it may be a little bit of like mayhem, but I think we want to bring you, I want to bring you, Kevin doesn't want to, but I do, right? Bring you into the room with us so that we can all be, you know, having this conversation on niche perfumery. Now, firstly, as I mentioned, the first house that we're revealing is Paris Monte Carlo. They have an incredible collection. Not necessarily will these be the fragrances, or they might be, but we are going to have something from the Italian collection, something from the black, and something from the extrait, because the new extraits are just like, I think there's a new, I think, Mamita Querida. I've noticed I've been saying that a lot in the videos, Mamita Querida, which is like, it's like Oh Mama, basically. Anyway. So yes, so Paris Monte Carlo, all of these samples will be legit. So in previous, we've done these things, we've actually done decanting, none of that. So we were actually getting from the companies direct the actual samples of from the company. So they'll be sent out to everybody. We want to have up to 9 fragrances that will be in the class. The cost is $95 plus postage. So if you're in Melbourne and you want to save on postage, the packs will be ready for you at Oligarch, so you're more than welcome to collect them from there. The class will also, during the class, you'll be able to obtain a 10% discount on anything that we are talking about from Oligarch, plus we are obtaining free bottles from the brands that we're going to be working on. So Paris Monte Carlo have been very kind, thank you guys, and donated a exceptional one. I won't tell you what it is. Kevin told me not to say nothing on it, but an exceptional fragrance from their collection that will be raffled out on the night. We actually want to do it we want to do very interactive, very live. So those who are buying will go into the raffle. Anyway, we'll explain more. But bottom line is, the date. Friday the 28th of July. So it's in about a month and a half. Friday 28th of July, the session will go live in Melbourne at 7:30 p.m. And then we'll go from there. So we invite you to join us. The tickets, they're on sale now, so you can jump on the NFC website, click on the link, and you'll be able to be a part of that. As I said, we're gonna next week I'll reveal the others, but for now, Paris Monte Carlo, grazie mille. Allora, all right, let me move on. Have a look at this.
The hardest office.
Finance. That sounds like finance to me.
Worse than finance.
Is there something worse than finance?
Yes,
Because I like spending money and,
is the regulatory. Mara is the regulatory manager. She checked that every fragrance made by me, Paolo, or Antoine respect the cosmetic law all over the world.
So we've had a lot of new people come on the channel. And mind you, I've had this question asked repeatedly, even from the very beginning. And that is the whole notion of reformulation. And the way that the question is asked, it's more, I guess, hinting at the fact that the companies are being sneaky, I guess, or being, I'm trying to think, like I said, when I'm doing my talks, my brain's like trying to grab these words. I'm like, don't say that word, because I don't know if that's actually defining it correctly. But basically, that the companies are being dodgy, that they're doing sneaky things to, let's save some money and let's reformulate, and then let's get things, the same product out. Because we've got a huge name in Naxos, Aventus, we can do what we want, people are still gonna buy. That's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not in conversation directly with these individuals, but let me share some things that I do know and questions that I have asked, because this question has been asked of me before. Sometimes, actually a lot of the times, it's not so much the company's decision to reformulate as opposed to new law that's been passed. So IFRA is a very big governing body over all things perfumery, for safety, for well-being of everyone. And so, like Luca said in this video, they have to observe these. If they want this perfume, and actually the one thing that he said, and if you haven't seen this video, have a look at it. It's an awesome, I guess, journey through how a perfume is created, from artistic ideas all the way through to the actual deliverable. So in this particular office here, they are constantly making sure that they observe all the different laws that are around the world when it comes to the perfume, because they want the perfume to be, well, they want this to go out to the world. They don't want it to be constrained just to, we can only sell it in this territory or this country itself, you see. So reformulation sometimes is necessary because these laws are passed. One of them is a clear example, one clear example of this is the introduction of no animal products in perfumery. So so very early on, things like the deer musk, I mean the birth of, I guess, musk, animalic musks, were from actual animals, but they had to kill the animal to take out these musk scents, or civet, where they have to, in most cases, cage the animal so that they can actually extract this particular ingredient. I mean, one is ambergris, and recently on the video that I did with Carlos, he did mention they've got a fragrance called ambergris. It is meant to be a very ambergris fragrance, but he made a really clear point to say that there is no animal product in here. There is no actual ambergris in this particular product, even though the whale is not harmed. This is I mean, ambergris, the idea is that it's something that the whale vomits out, essentially, goes through the ocean, gets these beautiful components, these ozonic notes with animalic and musky, blah, 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 but not allowed to use it. IFRA said, it's an animal-derived product, not allowed to use it. You have to find an aroma chemical equivalent of it. So in a lot of cases, as I mentioned, the companies are constrained by these rules and laws. That's one. The second thing is, I've been able to communicate quite a bit with Naso Mato. So for those who've been following, you can see that following the channel, you know that I've have a deep love for all things Alessandro Galtieri. Recently, they sent me a free bottle of the Saro Naso, and I've been in communication with their marketing team. And I did ask the question, because one of the questions asked of me is, Black Afghano doesn't seem to have the same potency and power as it used to, or as I remember it. Therefore, it's been reformulated. The company's trying to save some money, and I guess we're wearing that cost, essentially. You know, we're paying the same price, but we're getting less. I asked the question, has Black Afghano been reformulated? The answer was yes. I asked the question, was this because of trying to save costs? The answer is no. Now, I realize that you could go, man, of course they're going to say that because that's the company line. Yes, I mean, I guess we could be cynical about a lot of things in life. But anyway, on this point here, and she took quite great lengths to elaborate that this is not something that they're doing to save money. It's more about making sure that whatever the laws that are being passed in regards to perfume, that they're complying to those laws. In all cases, it's always about trying to make sure that the fragrance, and this is her comment, stays loyal and true to what it was when it was created. It's not about dumbing down the recipe. If anything, it's about maintaining the potency, the complexity, all those things that we as perfume lovers enjoy in that particular fragrance. So, leads me to my conclusion, Your Honor. Actually, let me just have a small drink. Take a small break here. The best thing, and this is my opinion, okay? The best thing to do is test for yourself. Forget the speculation. Is it being reformulated? Beep, bada, boop. Again, in a lot of cases, as I just said, it's not so much a choice, but it has to be a requirement. Test for yourself. Put it on. See how it performs. If you don't like it, if you're disappointed, don't buy it. Go on to something else. There's a million beautiful perfumes out there. It was interesting that someone asked me the question about Naxos. Naxos being reformulated. And I'll see if I can find it so I can put it here, okay? Naxos has been reformulated and it's disappointing, doesn't have no power, blah, blah, blah. And someone else wrote in this thread saying, I've got the new Naxos, I recently bought it. This thing is a powerhouse. It has this, it has that, has the other. So sometimes I think, and this is me speculating, that there is an inception or there is a placebo component to this too, you know. If someone says to you, this is gonna smell like dirt, you're like, you know what, I'm smelling dirt, you know, without really going, hang on a second, let me just objectively smell and go, actually, no, it doesn't smell like dirt, it smells like, in this case here, Vanille de Tahiti. Wow. Guys, if I haven't told, I have told you, pure magic. So, you get the gist. That's it. I've got nothing else to say. I'm moving on. But yeah, so reformulation, it's imposed in a lot of cases. And I think it would be bad business practice if a company is actually doing it to save some money, really dumbing down that formula and going, hey, no one's gonna realize. I think as a business plan, I mean, that's just a road to disaster. while I've been talking to you, these fragrances are popping all around me because I have sprayed prior to the beginning, and I would like to talk to you, actually before I go there, because I'm going to talk about Michael, for those who may have missed the Michael Marzano, the great Michael Marzano video that I did with him on Baby What's Your Name. Actually renamed it. It was Baby, no, Oh Baby, what are you wearing? Something like that. It was funny. Anyway, what he tried on the FUEGUIA. He loved it on card. FUEGUIA Milonga Verde. I forgot the name. Yes, Milonga Verde. And he put it on skin, and he kept saying, "Oh, it smells like egg." I did not. On me, I'm not getting egg. To the point, I've been wearing this over 2 days. And I'll go one more. One morning, because I'd sprayed it, and I inadvertently sprayed the collar of the sleeve of my shirt. As I did this, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's that smell?" And I'm like, I had to stop and think, "What's that smell? I know it. Milonga Verde." So this fragrance is not. I don't know where this was. One thing that so if you look at the Rose and Vetiver fragrance, episode that Michael and I did together, he did mention that his skin type does an unusual thing with certain fragrances. It actually twists it it actually changes the scent profile of that fragrance on his skin. I know when we did that Baby, I did smell, it did have an unusual smell of him, of his skin. To his nose, he was saying it smelled like an egg yolk. There was, I guess, there was that inception component to it. I'm like, yes, it does smell a bit eggy, I guess. But anyway, I just want to defend this fragrance, please, guys, because I had someone else, so I was planning to buy it. I mean, I always say test first, so don't blind buy. But you don't discredit this fragrance. This is, I mean, I said that like it's my best friend. Don't discredit my best friend. Honestly, great fragrance. I discovered it when I was in Milan. Milonga Verde, please. Doesn't smell like egg. Allora, all right, so one thing that I discovered is sometimes there are notes that take you by surprise, and this is what I want to talk about today. All of a sudden I've realized I really love licorice in my perfumes, but I'm talking like next level love licorice in my perfumes. And let me point this out too, not this licorice, all right? This is if I typed in American licorice, and this is what came up. So this is, I'm sorry to say, US, this is not the classic licorice. This is, well, yeah, it's not. This, on the other hand, is what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about a very fennel-like, very aniseed in, flavor construct, in smell. It's black. I even love this. I mean, the salted licorice, please. I mean, that is glorious. But if you come to Australia, US friends of mine, they love this. And this is the soft licorice version. However, they're all the same. When it comes to the scent and the flavor profile, they all have a very similar, I guess, taste and structure. And that is, it's very fennel-like, very aniseed, aniseed, is that right? I think so, yeah. But it's very herbal. It's a very herbal note. Now, I realize I love that in perfumery. And I didn't, it took me by surprise when I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's licorice. Oh, it's fennel. I'm like, hang on a second. I think I'm obsessed with this particular fragrance note. So today, which is an unusual lineup, I get it. But I want to put these forward to you because these are just incredible. As perfumes, so forget that licorice note. They are discernible. It's definitely in there. But as fragrances on their own, rock stars. Excuse me, give me a second. One more drink, and then we're off and away. I've got 24 minutes on the clock. Do you reckon I can do this in 4? I've noticed that my camera stops at 28 minutes, so I'm gonna do my best to bring this in 4 minutes. We'll see. Number 1. New house that I've discovered, fallen in love, can't get enough of it. Everyone in my family is enjoying the collection, the range. I am going to do a lineup on this, so I'm going to be doing a video because, so I'll come back to that. But this one here I want to put forward. So fragrances are unisex, however, sometimes they accentuate more florals, or they could accentuate more woods and more sort of deep resonant sort of tones. Normally what we do is we think to ourselves, more floral equals more towards feminine, more woods, more resinous equals towards men, okay? But you do you. If you like wearing florals, and I love wearing this one, but this can easily play on a man or a woman. This is Flower Mountain. This is Flower Mountain. Now, the moment that I sprayed, and this is why it was this fragrance that made me think I like licorice. The moment I sprayed, I'm like, that is a licorice note. I'm detecting a fennel, but with florals, with this orange blossom, with this, just glorious fragrance. Now that fennel note, or that licorice note, is in the opening, but it does stay throughout the fragrance. It's very gentle. I mean, there is, in the base, I believe there is osmanthus, which can be a little bit animalic. It's a glorious floral fragrance that is not too heightened floral. So a man can comfortably wear this and not feel uncomfortable. With aldehyde, sometimes aldehydes can be a little bit too soft, or for this man at least, too soft, and it's way too feminine for me. Whereas this one here stays in that orange blossom. The osmanthus does give it a little bit of animalic, but it's that fennel note at the start. Blend it all together, glorious. So I'd like to put Rhodes Flower Mountain as a great place to start. Comfortably a winter or a summer fragrance. It plays really well for the US or for the European countries, sorry, for Northern Hemisphere. That's a better way to define it. Absinthe Minded. Now, I've banged on about this brand here, ANKA Kush, and also the fact I've become very, very good friends with Ali Erkekli, who is I said it like that because I had someone else make fun of me the way that I said it originally. I said Erkekli, like he was Italian. No, he's a Turkish man, so Erkekli is the right way to say it. This is Absinthe Minded. Now, just to give you a heads up, this was, I think I'll put it here, was nominated in the Art and Olfaction Awards. So this is a standout hit. It's a really glorious, but very vibrant, fennel, licorice, aniseed fragrance. It just bursts out. Super potent, very powerful, actually to the point of destabilizing. When you first experience, you're like, whoa, it's like, what is going on? And Ali mentioned that he did that on purpose, is to destabilize us as a wearer, and also his words are that he wants the wearer not to make their judgment so quickly, not to make a decision so quickly. So it does calm down. It's fantastic. It's a vibrant fragrance for summer. So if you're able to find it in the US or in Europe, I would strongly recommend to you Absinthe Minded as a fantastic fennel-like, herbal, aromatic, bright, licorice, absinthe fragrance. Boom. All right. I have a feeling this thing's gonna pop on me any second now. So you know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm actually gonna stop. I'll be back in a second. The next one is, and this is another one that Michael, when we did the Baby, or Oh Baby What You're Wearing, was the AMOUAGE Royal Tobacco. He actually mentioned in the video that this fragrance destabilized him, made him feel uncomfortable or not intimidated. Anyway, he was saying that this fragrance is way too robust for him. And you know what? I'd have to agree. This is an incredibly powerful, robust fragrance. I almost feel that you have to be pretty sure about yourself to wear. I mean, I know that sounds like a big statement. A lot of people say that if a fragrance is wearing you, it's the wrong fragrance. So you have to feel comfortable in the skin of this particular scent profile. And I think that AMOUAGE's Royal Tobacco is definitely one that, yeah, it definitely has a very strong presence. Now, I sprayed it early, and I sprayed it on a cup, but I'm gonna spray it on skin. Actually, no, that one had something else. I was wearing this the other day. This is the most potent, long-lasting, powerful, room-filling fragrance. Just easy on the spray. So for me, it's 3, and that's where it ends. But what I love about this is that it's such a unique take on tobacco. Such a vibrant, original twist on tobacco. The key for this, in my opinion, is that licorice note. It's the fennel that's in there. There is a licorice note that's in there. There are some very distinct herbal notes, and if I'm not mistaken, rosemary is one of those. Potent, powerful, just glorious. But again, that licorice note is one that is a central character in the construction of this particular fragrance. This is wonderful. I don't know if this will work too well in a summer. I think in summer it might be very, very like overpowering. But as a winter fragrance for Southern Hemisphere, for us Aussies, AMOUAGE's Royal Tobacco. Magnifico. That's my Italian. All right, second last one. This is a recent one that I discovered in Paris. It's not one that we have here in Australia. I was wearing also this the other day, and so this is a beautiful play on licorice. Again, licorice, and actually, if anything, licorice is the center stage in this conversation. It's blended in with this caramel. So it's a beautiful gourmand, caramelly licorice note that's in there. Almost to the point, it's not cream. So it's not so much that it's, because if I say creamy, you're gonna think milk or lactose, and it doesn't have that. It's more, think of it like a soft, not gooey, but anyway, it's, I'm trying to define it so that it makes clear. Gourmand, ambery, very subtle, very caramel, sugary in some places. In some, there are some moments, but that fennel, that licorice is all the way through. I was wearing this on a particular day, that evening or that night, and I had it on my arm, and I remember waking up and going, what is that smell? Like, I'm in love, what is that smell? And it took a while for my sleepy brain to go, oh, it's Petra. So this fragrance, exceptionally long lasting, awesome projection, great power. But again, Northern Hemisphere, I don't think this will work too well in a warm sort of weather. Southern Hemisphere, try to find this thing. This is absolutely glorious. I was wearing all the way around Paris, and yeah, just in smelling it, it's just pure magic. There it is. It is pure magic. Now, one of the questions that was asked of me, so I'm going to give you the last one, and I am saving the best till last, okay? So just a heads up on this, because I had a question asked by another subscriber called Dave, Senor Dave. And he said to me, and look, I'll put it here, but verbatim, what perfume are you loving at the moment? Something to that effect. And I wrote to him some fragrances that we're just like, can't stop wearing and can't stop using. And it just so happened this one here was one of those, because it also has a licorice note. And let me tell you how I discovered this or unboxed it a bit better. So for, goodness me, excuse me. So for starters, this one here, so AOMASSAI. So AOMASSAI has been one that within my family, it is on constant repeat. And it's mainly the boys though. Interestingly, the women are not sort of reaching for this particular fragrance, but so myself, Nelson, who you've seen on Baby, and Farron, who's yet to join me on, I have invited him to join me on the Baby, so we'll see if he says yes eventually. He's the shy one. No, he's not shy, he's just, he's the busy one, there you go. So with AOMASSAI, all three of us have just like in love with this fragrance. And the funniest thing is, we've had I knew that there's coffee in here. So the moment you spray, I've been wearing it today. The moment you spray, actually I'm on the dry down here, but anyway, the moment you spray, you're getting a wonderful combination of coffee, but then there's something else sort of moving around in there and you're thinking, what is that? Kind of nutty, but brown sugar, caramel, but medicinal, what is that medicinal? And so it does all this incredible evolution. So the reason why this has become one of my recent favorites is I love the evolution of this fragrance. Where it begins, where it goes to in an hour, and where it dries down to, 3 different places. And I find when I get a fragrance that does that for me, okay, just a heads up, I love this fragrance. It is very linear, all right? So where I am in the beginning and as it moves through, it stays very much in that place, which I don't mind. I enjoy, I love that ambery licorice component to it. Whereas this guy here, where I begin and where I move through are different places. So on the opening, it's very gourmand, and you think, oh, this is a gourmand fragrance. And it has these beautiful components. One of the key ingredients that I've discovered here is the licorice. It has a licorice in that opening, and it is very sweet-like, it is very caramel-like, not as caramel and as gooey as this one. It has a bitter component, and I think it's the coffee that's creating this sort of this bittersweet sort of dance that is occurring. I know that there's also hazelnut in that opening, so that hazelnut, I'll be honest with you, I can't detect a clear hazelnut. I think of like Golden Mocha from Xerjoff. You can detect like a hazelnut component to that. Whereas here, there's this beautiful bitter, sweet, coffee, aromatic, bright, gourmand, sweet. Then as it dries down, it goes into this wonderful, it keeps some of those pieces there. The sweetness does come down, and I'm getting more a vetiver, hay-like quality to it. Has a gorgeous dry down. Now, I'm gonna say this will play really well in summer, all right? So for me, the sweet gourmand component, it does come off. So I think as it dries down into this more hay-like, more vetiver, more dusty component to it, a little bit of those aromatics because of the coffee is still in the actual fragrance. I think it could play well in summer, but I know for winter or for cooler, pure magic. Pure magic, there it is. There's my pure magic. So for me, yes, licorice is in here. It does play a good role, but this is probably one of the exciting. So to answer Dave's question, this is one of the fragrances that I have been enjoying a lot, and so has my family. Boom, that's it, and I'm done. Cheers, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you're drinking. I'd love to hear about that. Anything else that you can see that you guys would like to talk about, cover off, please put it in the comments. I'll make sure to address those things. And I look forward to seeing everyone again on the next Maté Talk. That was my tummy again.